Hello, I'm Nick Crawley. This is the Bible for Life ministry, and this short video introduces the book of Jude, right at the end of the New Testament, and it was written. It was written after the apostles had died, and this is very significant. Jude himself introduces himself as the brother of James and uses the same introduction to James's letter. And I think we should understand that he is actually the brother of Jesus. He was the youngest brother in the family that Mary and Joseph had, and so he grew up with Jesus and obviously totally influenced by Jesus. And here he is right at the end of his life, and as I mentioned, the apostles have died and the church itself is growing rapidly. And as it grows, certain problems occur which had not occurred earlier, and actually the letters at the end of the New Testament are really addressing this. So the letter of 2 John, 1 and 2 John, are addressing what happens when leaders are heretics. And 3 John looks at the question of what happens when leaders are bullies. And the letter of Jude addresses another crucial question: what happens when leaders become immoral? And that's why Jude has written his letter. If you look at Jude, it's only a very short letter, but verse 4 says this: certain men whose condemnation was written about long ago have secretly slipped in among you. They're godless men who change the grace of our God into a license for immorality and deny Jesus Christ, our only sovereign and Lord. And what Jude is saying is that this choice of allowing immorality in the church is actually a denial of Jesus' sovereignty. And the argument seems to have gone something like this: that we believe in Jesus, we're faithful, we're committed, and we're saved by grace. But now that we are saved, we're actually free to do anything, and we're free to behave sexually in whatever way we want. And the problem that Jude is addressing is that some church leaders have begun to teach this. And verse 4 is quite clear. That is the problem, and that is why Jude is being written. And the point is that this turning away to immorality is actually insubordination to Christ. You see, if somebody said, if Jesus is not Lord of all, he's not Lord at all. And so these themes are interwoven in the letter. Now, what makes the letter of Jude so interesting, and in many ways quite difficult to understand, is that Jude is drawing on a particular type of literature, and it's called apocryphal literature. It says that word can be used in one or two ways, but there are apocryphal books, and there's one or two which he specifically draws on here. There's the book of 1 Enoch and another book of the Testament of Moses. And Jude is quite unique in doing this. He draws on this material in order to write the letter, quite possibly because the false teachers are themselves justifying their position on the basis of what is written in these books. And so the bulk of this letter, and it's only short, it's 25 verses, but the bulk of it is an argument against these false teachers. But the book is immensely positive, and from verse 17 onwards, Jude instructs very clearly how Christians are to respond to this false teaching. First of all, he says, don't be surprised. The apostles said this would happen. The apostles said it would always happen in one area or another in the church, and we were to be sober and realise what's going on. We're also to take responsibility for ourselves. We're responsible for our own development in the Christian life as we receive the grace of God. And the letter ends with this fantastic finish. It's one of those popular blessings at the end of a service. Jude says, now to him who is able to keep us from falling and to present us faultless before the presence of Jesus himself. Now, Jude is not saying, look, from now on you can never ever commit another sin. He's not saying that. He's saying in this particular area, with this particular temptation, it is well able for you not to fall. He's able to keep you from falling and present you faultless before his presence, for a glorious presence with exceeding joy. And so here we are, a small little letter, quite an unusual letter written in a certain way, but one which in many ways it's a challenge and a test to us. We need to master it and think about it carefully and look at it in its own terms, and then we will understand it really well. So I think you'll enjoy this.